It looks like I'm very casual. It's because I'm in a park near Tucson, Arizona. I was supposed to go to a meeting here in just a little bit. I'm going to put on a suit and everything. But then I heard that bus driver over in Kellogg. Remember, yesterday we had Travis Lohr on the program, and he was talking about how the school suspended him and refused to allow him to walk at his own graduation because he said that there are only two genders, boys and girls, and there's no in between. Well, now we've got a bus driver, Dakota Mailloux. He's on the other side of the screen there, and he's been a bus driver in there for a few years in Kellogg. He decided to go to the protest today in defense of Travis, and then they fired him for that. He was waving an American flag and everything.
Actually, I brought it with. Figured I
There
should
you
bring the
go.
flag along.
Dakota, walk us through what exactly happened. So you've been a bus driver there for a few years. I understand you're a well-respected and well-liked bus driver, and you decided to go and show up at this protest this morning in support of Travis. Then what happened?
Well, Wayne, basically, I saw the thing. I saw the thing on Facebook last night about how he was not being allowed to walk because of his very factual assertion that there's only two genders, and it did not sit well with me. It's excuse me, this is some overreach. This should not be allowed to stand. So I decided this morning, that I was going to go down and support because my view on it is what's the lesson that we're sending? What's the message we're sending to the kids? I mean, insofar as I could tell, the message that the district is sending to the students right now is that if you tell a lie, no matter how absurd, you'll be rewarded. But if you tell the truth, no matter how obvious, you will be punished. And I do not deal well with liars, so I decided to show up in support of Travis. And
You had American flag there, the one that's behind you.
yep, I that was a very spur of the moment thing. I was literally walking to my car, close the door, turn around, and I'm like, you know what? I should pull the flag off of its little pole holder thing and take it with. And yeah, so I was just standing out there. I was the only one who brought a flag. I had a bunch of other people who were just like, "Oh, that's a really good idea. Why didn't we think of that?" But well, okay, there was one kid that had like a little tiny one, but other than that, but I figured it's like, well, this is the United States, and we have the right to express our opinions and reality in general. And yeah, why shouldn't I bring it? I love my country and I love my students, and I wanted to show up in support of them.
How long did the protest go, and how many people were there?
See, we started about 9. It was about 2 hours. It was about 9 o'clock to 11. And about 100 people showed up, and it wasn't just students. It was there was other parents. There was the county commissioner showed up.
Oh,
Yeah, David Dose, he's our Shoshone County Commissioner. He showed up. A bunch of the other students, and yeah, that was about it. About 100 people.
so you were there. You had your flag, and after the protest, was it? Were you called into
I was
your
told
boss's office, or what happened?
during the protest,
Here? Oh,
boss rolls up in his weird little micro truck thing, with what appeared to be the superintendent, walks into the school, and about 5 minutes later, I get a phone call from him, and just like, Dakota, where are you at? And it's like, I'm outside. Whereabouts outside? It's like, outside? Like, well, are you at the school? Why do you need to know? Am I not a free citizen of the United States? I'm not on the clock right now. And about 5 minutes later, he gives me another call. Oh, maybe more like 10. I got another call from him, and he's just right after he left, and he's just like, I need you to come into the office immediately. But is this disciplinary? I'm not going to discuss that over the phone. Like, okay. So I show up. As soon as I come through the door, he says, you're fired.
hey, that's it.
That was it.
Did he
No,
say why? Did he
I
give
have,
you?
and he said he doesn't have to give me a reason. He said that there was, no reason was given, no information. Just get your stuff off your bus and get out.
Have you had any disciplinary problems recently? Has anyone come to you and complained about your work or anything?
I actually did have, to be perfectly honest, I did have one about a month ago regarding a turning the boss down for a weekend field trip because I was helping a friend of mine move to Spokane. And he decided to write me up for that. And he pulled me off of my normal route and he stuck me on another route, which he said he admitted openly was punitive. And he said, "Oh, it's only for 2 weeks." This was close to a month ago.
Wow.
Yep. So that was not true.
So do you think that this was that was used as leverage, or do you think this was like a last straw, or what do
I'm
you think was really
actually,
going on here?
I mean, potentially last straw, but I think mostly it's just the district trying to save face. And this whole thing with, they know they messed up with Travis and anybody, and because I was there on my own personal time of my own free will, um, I guess it just makes Lance look bad. So he decided to fire me.
Do you know Travis?
Not personally. I mean, a lot of my students know him personally. He was not one of my students, but once again, this was not this sent a very poor message to the kids, and I don't like bullies.
Hmm.
To be
Were
perfectly
your
frank, I saw this as bullying by the school district, bullying and attempting to silence him, and I do not put that's one of the hardest lessons from my childhood is I do not put up with bullies.
were your students talking about it?
Some of my students were there, actually, a lot of them were.
Oh. Hmm.
Yeah, current and former. A lot of them have gotten a driver's license because they're seniors now, so they don't ride the bus anymore. But there was a lot of people. There's a lot of faces there that I recognized.
Have you? I mean, is this? I mean, obviously, you haven't been there for a super long time, but I mean, have you seen stuff like this before from the school district? Have you? I mean, would if somebody asked you earlier this week before all this happened, is there a propensity to defend wokeism and other nonsense in the school? Would you have ever thought that to be true?
I would not have thought it to be true in Kellogg. I mean, I worked for Edmonds prior to COVID. I worked for Edmonds School District, and before that, back in 2010, I worked for 2010 to 2014. I worked for Seattle Public Schools. Yes, yeah, 100% on brand. Kellogg, no. This was surprising and very disappointing.
So what's going on there then?
That's a very good question. I actually don't quite know. I mean, I guess it's just this has become such a huge nationwide problem
Hmm.
that it's even creeping into small towns and communities in North Idaho and counties that only have 12,000 people in them.
It's crazy. I mean, here Kellogg itself, just a couple thousand people. It's a small mining town. It's, heavily forested. It's very rural.
Not a
Everybody knows
single functioning
everybody.
traffic light in the entire county.
What's that?
There's not a single functioning traffic light in the entire county.
Which is
However,
why I love it so much. It's fantastic. So where do you go from here then? I guess I've heard there's going to be a GoFundMe thing set up for you. I don't know if that's already active or not.
I mean, and I am from the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate that. I mean, I was not expecting that. I kind of thought when I got fired, I'm like, well, I made my bed. Now I'm gonna lay in it. Okay, and but I have one job offer that popped up, and actually, sorry, two job offers that have popped up. So I'm crossing fingers, knock on wood. Hopefully, I'll land on my feet.
I think you will.
I hope so.
Um, there's a rumor going around that Kellogg has canceled the high school graduation that's supposed to be held tomorrow. Is that true? Do you know?
I don't. This is the first I've heard of that. That it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they pulled all the kids out of school at 11 today. Like
Oh, really?
the entirety of the bus barn rolls up, including former boss driving my old bus, rolls up to the smug little grin on his face, rolls up in front of the school, pick up all the kids, and they just left. Now, here's the thing, though. During the protest, I want to actually put this out there. During the protest, the school district was saying that the kids, that the students in the school, if they left, they were going to be marked absent. They were going to fail their classes. The kids were threatened with punitive action. They'd be removed from the football team next year. That, which, I mean, honestly, that's a cut off your nose to spite your face thing. We barely have enough people to form a team as it is.
Wow. So, I mean, you were fired, and these kids that still have to go to school there were threatened with ongoing retribution.
Yeah. And also, like I said, and it hurts the district doing this hurts them potentially more than it hurts us, because they couldn't afford to lose. They can't afford to lose any drivers. We are perpetually short staffed. I mean, every school district in the union seems to be perpetually short staffed, but so they couldn't afford to lose me. And I actually won I'm actually one of their best drivers. I took first place in the bus rodeo last year, and this year I was third place.
No kidding.
Yep.
No wow. Kidding. I guess this other stuff is more important some kind of way, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the impression that I get.
That's too bad. That's really too bad. Well, Dakota, thank you on behalf of all the rest of the Idahoans and Americans generally, in support of Travis and our God-given right to freedom of speech. Thank you. I mean, the people I think that are the best are the ones that lay it all on the line, and you did that. And unfortunately, the school district is punishing you. Yep.
Like anybody that knows me knows that this is completely on brand for me. My parents did not raise a coward, and I have never been, one to tolerate bullying and just oppressive behavior.
One of my team members just sent a note, and it said, if you had been waving a pride flag, you probably would have been promoted to lead bus driver or principal or something.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That was the thing that gets me. Is just like, if this had been the other way around, I wouldn't have gotten fired. If this would have been like some transgender thing, I wouldn't have gotten fired.
It's really true. And if Travis had gotten up the other day and said, Black Lives Matters, or, trans, whatever, he would have been hailed as a hero, and no one would have said, gosh, he went off script.
In disguise. I don't know. That's just what popped into my head. Sorry.
It's okay. We live in an era where up is down, black is white, political correctness has run amok, and all we're doing is trying to reclaim our heritage as Americans: freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom to worship, and give your opinion. All our freedoms are in jeopardy, and what good are your freedoms if you don't use them?
And yeah, exactly. It's just like, and if we don't fight, the longer it takes us to stand up and fight for them, the harder it becomes.
Yep, absolutely.
I feel that it's like we have failed the kids thus far up to this point. We've been failing them via inaction, and that's why when this fell on my lap, it's like, no, I have to take responsibility. I have to stand up.
You did the right thing, and you're going to be better off for it in the end, I think. So. Thank you. And thanks for being on the podcast so quickly. And all you guys that are watching this, please keep an eye out for the Dakota's GoFundMe link, because we'll put that on idahofreedom.org. And we'll keep you up to date with any other things that are going on with the school district, with Travis and all this other stuff. I did call, by the way. I called the principal, left a message for him, and said, listen, if you want to respond, here's my phone number. Call me. We'll have you on the podcast too. But so far as is also on brand. Yeah, they're not gonna answer. So whatever. But I gave them the opportunity.
I
But
mean,
anyway,
you gotta give them the opportunity to
yeah,
respond. Otherwise,
yeah. I mean, it's the right thing to do. But I know I'll never hear from them. They might surprise me, but the typical of a lot of these school districts, they just either they ignore you or give you the runaround. And right now we're in ignore mode. So we'll see what
I'm still
happens.
trying to, I'm getting the runaround on trying to get a hold of somebody as to why I was fired. Trying to figure out the reason why I was fired.
I think you know why you're fired.
Oh, I know exactly why, but I
Yeah,
need it actually in writing for
yeah,
any future employers and that sort of stuff.
yeah,
Also, I need a copy of my personnel file.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, good luck. I roll up to the district headquarters, and everybody that was inside miraculously vanished between me parking the car
Huh.
and walking to the door.
Weird how that happens.
Yeah, it's like
That tells you everything you need to know right there.
Yep.
Hey, you're a hero. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate it. Thanks all of you for tuning in, and we'll catch you again next time.
Thank you very much, Wayne, and
Thanks, guys.
on.